everybody. Welcome everybody to the X Factor podcast and live on this Tuesday morning. I did not get anything done yesterday. So I'm going to get right here with this backlash reactions and everything, and then later on today I'll get out my Monday Night Raw reactions. So schedule of the week this week. It's going to be so I didn't do anything yesterday, which I should have done something yesterday. So today will be Backlash and Raw talk. Backlash video will be right before the Raw video, so stay tuned for that. I'll also talk about Raw later on today, and then tomorrow will be NXT talk, and then Dynamite talk. Wednesday will be NXT talk. Thursday will be Dynamite talk. Friday talk, I'm going all in NFL stuff. I'm going NFL draft or NFL talk. The NFL schedule's coming out, so I got my full schedule predictions right out on Friday, and my top 10 teams for this year. And then Monday I'll probably get in with some SmackDown and Rampage reactions, or I'll probably get that done Saturday and then post it on Monday. So that's the schedule of the week. Any updates? Follow X Factor Podcast or X Factor MG 5654. The X and the MG are capitalized, so if you need any updates, go right to my Twitter page right there. So I'm trying to get to 1,000 followers right now. So, but we're gonna get right in here with the first match: Bianca versus Io Sky. I had Bianca. If you wanted my predictions, I had Bianca winning against Io Sky. I had all my predictions on Twitter. So, Bianca versus Io, and I'm going to say it was a very shocking start to the match with Io getting more cheers and boos as usual, and Bianca was getting more boos usually, which is really shocking coming from Bianca, because out of everyone that's been around, Bianca's really shown why she could be one of the best, and I think she's probably the John Cena of the women's division. So match I think is probably match of the year for women, at least for the women's, probably match of the year in general. I thought the first match, they gave him 18 minutes exactly. I thought it was really great. There was it was a slow start at first, but then they got going. The crowd great. There was an ugly spot where Bianca wants to go pick her up as a press kind of thing, and pretty much dropped her on her freaking head. Man, it was an ugly one. Match was amazing though. Bianca, the powerbomb off the top rope, amazing. And Damage Control tried to get involved and pretty much cost Io the win there. I think Bayley ruined that for Io Sky right there. I think that's going to lead up to something probably for next month, probably. So crowd was really great. So the crowd was really good, way better than they were on Monday. But so the one thing I gotta know is, what are they gonna do with the women's tag title or women's titles? Because Bianca, they didn't do a tag title or a title switch on Monday, so don't know what they're doing there. Seth versus Omos was the second match. I had Seth winning. At the start, it looked like Omos was gonna squash Seth in a squash match. That was not the case there. The frog splash 1 count deal, the 2 stomps and kick out, and then the stomp off the top rope. It was really, and I feel that pretty much closed the case for Seth Rollins being a main event caliber guy, and he's pretty much closed that deal for a couple of years now. At this point, I think now it's closed the gate on him being the world champion, because they had the tournament last night. So I think Seth is pretty much the number one guy to look at for that title. no one else should be able to get a little sniff at the first world champion. I think Seth should be the main guy right there, because the first promo he had against Omos, he already made me care about the match. And he made Omos look really good. It was probably Omos's best showing out of all. Like, he faced Braun Strowman, he faced Brock Lesnar, he faced Bobby. No one had a match like with him than what Seth did. And I think it's more of Brock can't have like a 10-minute matchup, or he can't, or Braun Strowman and Omos was a good match as well. So I could probably put that at number 2, and Bobby, Bobby and Omos doesn't really seem like a good fit, so it is what it is for that. Bronson Reed, Bobby Lashley, and Austin Theory for the United States title triple threat. I had Austin Theory winning. Bronson, I think out of everyone in that match, Bronson Reed pretty much proved himself out of all of them. I think he showed himself out more than Bobby and Theory did, and Bronson Reed really needed that. Bronson Reed really needed to show why he could be in the title scene for any title in that matter. I didn't realize how athletic he was with the backflip off the top rope and the super kick and everything. It was a really good match. It was a good match for the little time they had. They had about 6 minutes, I think. 6-7 minutes. I was not a fan of the finish with, Theory throwing out Bobby and taking the pin like he always does. It's like, why can't they make Theory look more of a, if they want him to be the next number 1 guy, they gotta actually have him beat someone clean type of thing. Because every time he's faced Bobby, he's always won dirty in some sort of way. So, weird finish. I did not expect him to go as long, but it was a really good match. So, and that's what I feel about this next match: Zelina Vega versus Rhea Ripley. I thought I didn't expect them to go long. For the little time they had, I thought they were good. All right. Zelina Vega, false hope at the start. Thought she was gonna get there, and Rhea, of course, just overpowering, and boom, takes her out like that. I think Rhea Ripley could potentially be after it's all said and done, I think she will be the most dominant women's champion in the past decade. Maybe in the past, since probably Trish Stratus in that matter. Maybe ever in that matter. So, I know people are going to say Bianca, but, Rhea Ripley, she's a whole different type of style, so it was just, I feel like she's just going to be one of the best ever, so. Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest, should have been main event in my opinion. Overall, I thought the match was amazing. I think that match was a 5-star classic. Bad Bunny was able to go 25 minutes in the ring, which is something you don't really see out of many celebrity guys. But Logan Paul, Bad Bunny were able to do it in their little showings in their matchups. But Bad Bunny and Damian Priest, man, that was... And the table spot that Bad Bunny had, man, that was ugly. I thought he was done after that. I'm like, get him out of here, get him out of here. But Damian, and I gotta give more credit to Damian Priest. I know people are gonna put credit on Bad Bunny, but Damian Priest really needs credit for what he did. And I know he lost, but sometimes the loser comes out more of a winner than the winner did. And I think Damian Priest right there was more of a winner than he was a loser that night. It really showed that him, Finn Balor, Dom, Rhea, all are main event caliber people. It's only the problem is you can have three main event caliber people going after one title as a faction, but it's just gonna be difficult. So I think at the moment I keep do what they do and put if they need a tag title match, boom, you could put either one of them. I think Dom should always be one of those tag guys. But if they need to pick Damian Priest or Finn Balor to be part of it, that's just where you get more of a get more of a oomph to it. You know what I mean? So, um, great returns. Like Carlito, did not expect Carlito to come out. Savio Vega, that was amazing as well. Bad Bunny ended up to win. I had Bad Bunny winning, so good match. I think it should have been main evented though. So, Bloodline versus Sammy, Kevin, and Riddle. I was not a fan of this matchup. I thought it was good, but I didn't. It just wasn't. And I think it's more of just because the whole rivalry's gotten stale at this point. Because they've been going on with this with Kevin and all them since months now. You know what I mean? And I think I'm more interested in what Roman and the Usos are. It's gonna come down to, instead of Kevin, Sammy. I feel like Kevin and Sammy should have ended their stuff at WrestleMania. Boom, get out, get done with it. Riddle and Solo should have been a whole different deal. They should have had their own type of matchup. I wish they would have got a fight pit. That would have been amazing. So, I was not a fan of the match. I thought it was slow too. I feel like the crowd wasn't into it as well, which was weird. I just feel like the whole rivalry's gotten stale, and I felt the same way about last year. I felt the same way after last WrestleMania. The first month, I felt like everything was slow and stale, and then after Backlash, everything started going. And I feel like Raw really a good start for that. So, and they had a little bit of a tease of Solo taking out Jay. Potentially, we'll probably see that happen at some point. So, but then in your main event, Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes. And in my opinion, the match good, ending terrible. And I'll tell you why here. So Cody Rhodes a couple weeks ago called Brock Lesnar a coward. What does Cody Rhodes do that night? He rolls him up and runs away. I feel like that ending made him look weak. But let's get right into the start here. The start, it was Cody Rhodes. They all started outside. Cody Rhodes' a little funny Squidward walk out to the stairs. I thought the blood spot, one spot I need to get into it was the spot where Brock Lesnar started bleeding. He forced that way too. He did not blade or anything. He forced himself into the blood, which is something you don't see often. Which was good that we got to see blood. Because I feel that's what some rivalries need is blood. And most of Brock Lesnar's rivalries need blood. I feel like if they cut the match short because of the blood, it's going to be really stupid, to be honest with you. So, Suplex City, I thought it would be SummerSlam 2014 all over again with Brock and Cody. But, Cody Rhodes got himself going after for a little bit, and then the Kimura lock spot, and then Cody Rhodes rolled him up and won. I thought Cody Rhodes looked weak by rolling him up and doing it. I thought being him clean would be perfect, but knowing what happened last night on Raw would be a whole different scenario. So, but I'm gonna get into it here with some Monday Night Raw stuff. Overall, I thought the match was great. I thought the pay-per-view was great. I just feel like the main event should have been Bad Bunny and Damian Priest. So, alright, we're going to get into it here with some Monday Night Raw talk from last night. It all started with Cody Rhodes. It was also in Jacksonville, so obviously it was going to get a little weird with Cody Rhodes, Jacksonville, know the history there. By the way, their crowd sucked. I don't know if it's because of it's an AEW whole crowd or what, but that crowd killed the show. The show I thought was good. It's just that crowd sucked. They had to put in piped-in crowd noises every little bit, and it annoyed me really bad. But it started off with Rhodes, spending his time in All Elite Wrestling. What he spent his time in Jacksonville during the pandemic and all that. So, Cody Rhodes pretty much said he was going to win the world title. Seth Rollins interrupted him with a little bit of a tease of a match with them too, even though they already had it. a tease of a match again after their rivalry back in 2022. So, that's that. Match. The first match was Damian Priest, Nakamura, and Seth Rollins. I thought the match was good. I thought when Damian Priest was selling his leg injury from a couple nights ago was good. The Razor's Edge he tried to put on Nakamura, I believe, or Seth. Reversed. Got a little bit of a tease of a singles with Nakamura and Seth. I don't think we've ever seen that before, which is something we could really see. And then near the end of it, Nakamura had Priest in a trapped-in knee bar, and then out of nowhere Seth Rollins with a frog splash and pedigree Nakamura for the win. Match I think was good. I think it was a really good match. It just confused me with the 6 people. I didn't even think about triple threat tournaments for any of them. So, while I'm at it there, I'm gonna tell you what the tournaments were here. So Nakamura, Seth, Damian Priest were in the first tournament match I was just talking about, and then Finn Balor, Cody Rhodes, and The Miz were in a tournament match later on in the night. And on Friday, it will be AJ Styles, Edge, and Rey Mysterio in a triple threat, and then Austin Theory, Bobby Lashley, and Sheamus. So I already had my predictions. I thought Finn and Seth were going to go at it, and then Seth was going to win, which I was correct on all of that. So over here on SmackDown, I think AJ or Edge is going to win that triple threat. I'm more leaning on AJ because I don't think Edge needs that spot, but it would be cool to see him back in that spot. I think AJ wins, and I think Sheamus wins because Theory and Bobby are going to go at it. And then I think AJ beats Sheamus, and then we get Seth and AJ at Night of Champions. I think Seth beats AJ to be your world champion. So, and then I thought the match was good. We had some good stuff there. After that was a backstage segment with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens with Imperium. And Imperium announcing Gunther will make his Raw debut next week on Raw. Great to see that. Potentially, we could see a lot of feuds going on there. Maybe a JD McDonough, Gunther potential sometime down the road. One thing, and then Imperium tried to get the attention of Sammy and Kevin, and Sammy and Kevin tried to talk, and Sammy goes, "You still be Imperium in 5 minutes, right?" Sami Zayn asked Luke and Kaiser that, and Giovanni Vinci interrupted him and all that stuff. Which it would end up being a match later on in the night, which was a funny little segment right there. I think Sammy and Kevin are really becoming more of a better tag team form right now since they're not going to be with the Bloodline. I feel like being with the Bloodline, doing all that stuff, this past month has kind of lowered everything. So it's great to see them out of that spot. So one thing is, though, they said that they can go to Raw or SmackDown with the titles, which I can understand why, because they have the SmackDown tag title. But if you want a brand split, if you want the old brand stuff, why don't you just have Sami and Kevin drop the SmackDown tag titles? You want brand exclusive stuff? Boom, there you go. You don't got people going on Raw or SmackDown. Like, what's the point of them getting drafted to Raw when they can still go to SmackDown? Kind of like, why did Liv Morgan and Raquel still get drafted to Raw even though they could still go to SmackDown? It makes no sense. So, I don't know what's all that about. So, Mustafa Ali versus Otis in a match which I thought was a weird match. Ali getting up with the win. Mustafa Ali getting a win over Taggy and Otis is gonna be some interesting stuff. But I want to know what Maxine Dupree is doing with Massey and Mansois. She hasn't been with them. It's like she's dropping all of them for Otis, and so I don't know what's going on right there. Match was a little bit alright. It was just a little fast match. Otis Ollie, pretty much all that. After the match, yes, of course, Chad Gable and Maxine Dupree doing a tug of war for Otis. So I think it was just a filler match, nothing really much big. So that's that pretty much. Cody Rhodes, Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, or Cody Rhodes, Finn Balor, The Miz. In a triple threat, Balor defeated Cody Rhodes and The Miz. After the Corey Graves talked about how they had, they could reinvent their rivalry from back in 2016, Seth and Finn, which is something that I've been wanting for a while right now. But Brock interrupted, took out Cody, and that's pretty much what cost Cody the title. And I think it's the right move because Cody couldn't afford to lose that match clean. He had to have some way of getting out of the match. And I think Brock right there is what's... I think the curse is the 3 crossroads. Because if you look at WrestleMania, look at there, boom, 3 crossroads, done for. So, after the match, Brock Lesnar F5'd him through the table and kept telling him to look at his face. And you want to fight. Look at his face, want to fight. So at Night of Champions, Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar again. One thing I gotta say though, because I didn't say it when I was doing my Backlash reactions. They really need... Brock Lesnar really needs a reality check right now because since he's came back, I think he's only had one match that's been over 10 minutes. I mean, that was a SummerSlam match. Or he might have 2. He hasn't had long matches. And if you're going to be in the main event, in my opinion, you should at least be the longest match of the card. Upside the Royal Rumble and the Survivor Series stuff. You know what I mean? But, if you're going to be, if that was going to be your head match, that has to be the longest match of the night, and that has to be the best match of the night. And they were not even... They were the 3rd best match of the night, in my opinion. Maybe even 4th if you put Omos and Seth in front of that. And it's not even Cody Rhodes' fault why the match is like that. It's just Brock can't do old matches that long anymore. Which just sucks for Cody because Cody Rhodes has had a history of having longer matches on pay-per-views. And I feel like pay-per-views, you need longer matches. Otherwise, just put them on fucking main event and have Brock Lesnar throw people on main event. Because I think Brock at this point just needs to retire. Get over with it and retire. So, but that's my opinion on it. So, it doesn't really matter. Dana Brooke versus Rhea Ripley. Finally, they gave Dana Brooke a chance. Yeah, so my thing is on this. For months, and I mean months, people have been saying they give Dana Brooke a chance. Give Dana Brooke a chance. They give her that chance. My God. Yeah, why give her that? Yeah, she doesn't deserve a chance. She's had so many chances since 2016. She's been on the main roster since 2016. And what has she done? Nothing. You can put mostly on that on booking, but a lot of it is because she's not a popular wrestler. She's not popular. Put her on NXT or something. I feel like she would thrive more on NXT because NXT crowds care more than, when you're going on to a Raw or SmackDown event. But, in my opinion, there's no need to give Dana Brooke chances. It's just, put her on NXT, rebuild yourself. So, after the match, Rhea Ripley squashed her, of course. After the match, she put her in her submission move. And then all you hear is Natalya coming out to pretty much it looks like it was a good challenger for the title. A lot of people hated on it. A lot of people liked it. My eyes on it, I think it could be potential. Natalya is one of those people that after a couple years now, she's needed one of those matches that revive her career a little bit. Tell her why you're Natalya, why you're here. And I feel Rhea Ripley could do that for her. Because, and I always say older wrestlers need to elevate younger wrestlers, but sometimes the younger wrestlers that are up and popular need to elevate the older ones as well at some points. And I feel like with The Miz, Natalya, two people I can name right off my head, Natalya and The Miz, they need to revive their career a little bit with something good. I feel like the Raw match Miz had a couple weeks ago, Seth could do it, but Miz needs a long time rivalry, and I feel like that's what him and Shinsuke are doing now. I feel like that could be what they do with that. Natalya could potentially revive her career with Rhea Ripley helping her out. It's just at this point, I think Natalya doesn't really need a title shot. It's just more of trying to revive her career. So that's pretty much that. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn versus Imperium. Good match. I thought it was a good match. Potentially could see a future tag title match with Imperium and Sami and Kevin. If I had to choose one tag team to be the next tag team champions, I'd choose Imperium. But if you're looking at Jacksonville crowd yesterday, they'd look like they were just a bunch of jobbers. Because, their crowd sucked. And, it ended with, Kevin Owens stunner to Ludwig Kaiser, getting Giovanni with a super kick. Boom, Sami comes in, and Luma kicks him, and boom, match is over at the end. Gunther ain't gonna like it, but we'll have to find out what happens next week with it. So, there we go. Zoe Stark versus Nikki Cross in Zoe Stark's debut match. And, Zoe Starks won her match against Nikki Cross with a great finishing move. I can't stress that enough. I think it's a great finishing maneuver. And she's one of those upcoming superstars I think could potentially be in the main event scene by Royal Rumble next year. She has the attitude. She has the wrestling ability. Nothing of that's in question. People could say her character is in question. To me, it's not really in question. It's more of what's her attitude gonna be like? And I feel like the attitude she has going in there is what you perfectly do. So, and the way they debuted her onto the main roster with Nikki Cross and how the segment backstage and everything, I feel like that's perfect how you get an NXT star over. So, there you go. Trish Stratus had a promo. I feel that promo was bad. I feel like I was the only one that I might not be the only one, but I feel like that promo was not that good. I feel like I was cringing the entire time while she was trying to talk. I don't know if it's because of she's just out of touch with some things, because back then you could say whatever you want, and now it's a whole different situation. I still feel like Trish could still go. It's just that promo last night was not that good. And it's also Jacksonville crowd, terrible. So I'm blaming the crowd on everything. So, but thank you, Trish, for bringing Becky back, at least. If you want to say thank you to that, thank you, Trish. And then Becky, returned last night. Great to see that. What they're going to do with their matchup, I don't know when they're going to have it. I don't know what they're going to do. I would like to see them have a match at probably... I feel like it could be a 3-match affair with them two. A match at Night of Champions, a match at Money in the Bank, and then probably a match at SummerSlam. Could potentially see those three in a, it'd be great to see it, to be honest with you. So, overall, I think the promo was just bad. Someone cut Becky off at the production truck. She had a video last night on her Instagram thing punching the producer that cut her off last night, so that was funny. So, Xavier Woods versus Dominic Mysterio. I'm not gonna lie, I was not into that match. And I feel, and I've been saying they needed to give Xavier Woods some, give him some chances, book him better. And I feel, and how I know the crowd last night was bad was when Dom came out, no one was booing. You could have threw a pen at the frickin' wall or throw it on the ground, and it'd be more loud than what Dom got for reactions last night. Like, their crowd sucked. It was that bad. Xavier Woods lost on a roll up, so that's all. I wasn't really watching the match, so. And then at the final, it was Seth Rollins versus yours truly, Finn Balor, bringing up their old rivalry back, and I thought that match was great. Crowd sucked, match great. That's all I gotta really say for that. And I feel now we could potentially see more of Finn Balor and Seth Rollins down the line with their match last night at least. So, Seth Rollins getting on to the world title scene. Like I said, I think he deserves that world title. I think he's the only one that really deserves at this moment in time. You can put a lot of people's names in that card, but when it comes down to it, when you get that final say, Seth Rollins is the only right answer for any of that. You can say Cody Rhodes, you could say AJ Styles, you could say Edge, you could say Ray, you could say Bobby, you could say Theory, you could say Sheamus, Shinsuke, Damian, Miz, whoever. At the final, when that clock ticks, you know it's gonna be Seth Rollins. So, overall, I thought Raw was good. I just think the crowd sucked. But tomorrow I got my NXT reactions. Tomorrow I'll be more enthusiastic. Try to at least. That's all I really got for you today. Y'all have a good day. So, stay blessed.